Dave Small at the Buchla booth here at NAMM 2019. Dave, the last time we met up was in May at Superbooth in Berlin, Superbooth 18, when you were building Buchla 100 modules for your company Catalyst Audio.
Yes.
Can you tell us what's been going on since then?
Yeah, so since then, I have gotten in contact with Eric Fox from Buchla, and we talked a bit about collaborating on some modules. They really liked what I was doing with the 100 series modules and wanted to sort of head in that direction. So we talked, and now those modules are now going to be done under Buchla's Red Panel branding.
Wow. So the modules that you were originally designing out of your own volition and because you love them so much have now become part of the official Buchla line.
Yes, that is correct.
Wow, that's wonderful. Run us through them and show us what the different modules are that are currently available.
Okay, so these will be out with this new branding this spring. So these first top 6 here have all been out before. We've got the 158 dual sine sawtooth generator, it's an oscillator, 6-channel mixer, the 106, the control voltage processor. There are actually 2 different versions of this. This is the M, which is a modern updated version that I did that makes it a little bit easier to work with for Eurorack, in my opinion. We also have the 156V, which is the original Buchla vintage version.
How does the M model allow you to work better with Eurorack? So, the voltage is more in the same range?
Yeah, so in this module, what you basically have is you've got 2 inputs. This lower knob mixes between the 2 inputs. The center knob functions as an offset, and it can go positive or negative. And then the top knob here functions as a attenuverter. So you can scale positive up to about, multiply it by 2, or scale negative down to about 2. So that makes it very easy to scale voltages for things like pitch and stuff like that, if it's coming from something like a keyboard like this. Whereas the original 156 has the same thing. The bottom knob mixes, the center knob is an offset, but it only works in the positive direction.
I see.
And the top knob actually mixes between the offset and the inputs. So the problem with that is that you can never get a gain of anything beyond 1. So as soon as you want to add an offset, you lose the scaling of the inputs.
That makes sense, and that is such a Don Buchla sounding design decision.
Yeah, and it makes sense if you're using things with all of the touch plates have their own controls, and same thing with the sequencer, and they're all unquantized. So in that context, it works fine. But if you're trying to use it with other Eurorack equipment or other modern stuff, it quickly becomes a limitation. So there's 2 different versions of the 156. Other than that, we've got the 110, which is essentially 4 VCAs in one panel. And we have the dual attack generator, the 180, which is essentially 2 ASR envelopes.
Right.
They're a little interesting. They actually have the ability to be, you can set it up and set the sustain independent of the incoming gate signal, which I can't think of any other envelopes that actually do. Anyway, those first 6 will be out shortly. These bottom 3 here are prototypes. We've got a dual low-pass gate. Also on that same panel is a quad bandpass filter. We have this one, which is the 112.
The sort of the quintessential Buchla touch plate.
Exactly. So it's got 12 keys. You can set each one. You have an A output and a B output for the CV voltage, which you can set with the knobs. It has a trigger output for to sense whether you're touching the key or not, and it has a pressure sensitivity. We also have a reverb module, dual reverbs, so you can set up 2 different tanks for different sides, for like a long one and a short one, or just run it in stereo. And these will be out later, I think they're also planning on doing this whole skiff.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So this whole, I mean, it looked, you know, as always, there's a decent amount of density in each Buchla module, right? I mean, it seems like not much space is wasted.
Right.
So would you say that this skiff is enough to be able to do some basic real-time performance and
absolutely.
some basic recording?
Absolutely. This is about the smallest system that I would want to go with, because the 100 stuff is not as dense as the 200.
Sure.
So you need a few more modules to probably get the same equivalent amount of control out of it. But this is a very nice setup in and of itself to just sort of get a feel for what the 100 series sounded like. Right. And obviously the more creative you get with it, the more you can get out of it.
Well, of course. And the thing that's really important to mention about these, and I see that you've renamed them, they're the Red Panel series now?
So Red Panel is going to be Buchla's new, sort of more affordable branding,
nice.
And allow them to move away from just the strict interpretation of Buchla. So their Euro rack stuff, I think they're planning on doing some other stuff that's maybe not necessarily Euro rack. Yeah. But it's sort of the more affordable
line of this stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is great, because of course I love the Buchla stuff very much. I mean, I better, since I just plunked down the money to buy an easel, so I'm really into it. But it's a pretty serious purchase.
Yes.
And being able to have stuff to allow people to get into, you know, certainly the 100 series, that early 60s version of the Buchla sound, is really awesome.
Yes.
It's really wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, Dave. Do you have anything else to mention before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Well, that is great. It's always such a pleasure to see you, and I look forward to see you at Synthplex in May.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Cheers.